You're listening to Bloomberg Businessweek with Massar and Tim Stenovec on Bloomberg Radio.
Hey, so a story popped in on my radar while reading in for our next guest. It was from Industry Dive. They're a business-to-business news organization. They wrote, as grocers dial up their efforts to reduce food waste, a key area of focus within sustainability, artificial intelligence and other digital innovations are helping food retailers improve their data processes and workforce efficiencies. So I'm curious what our next guest has to say about that, and so delighted to have back with him. Earlier this year, he was named one of Canada's most influential change makers by the Globe and Mail's Report on Business magazine. Josh Domingues founded Flashfood, the digital marketplace that connects consumers to heavily discounted food. I always feel like I was thinking about you again, is that why the heck were we doing this sooner? Anyway, welcome back.
So grateful to be here.
And Jess was reminded, like, the first time we had you on, she was here. She's in for Tim, but like, nice to have this continuity. How are you?
I'm doing well. I mean,
congratulations, you have a bigger family now.
Yeah, thank you. We had another one. So our newest is now 3 months old, and I was joking that, like, I go from all things crazy at home to all things crazy at work, but just on a journey, and it's so grateful to be in the position that we're at. We're really excited with what's happening stateside.
Well, tell us about the journey and what's happened since April. A lot. I mean, you said to me, "How's the world going?" I'm like, "It's crazy. It's nonstop." It has just been so busy. Yeah. Even with questions about the outlook and all these problems, there's growth. People are doing things. Yeah. What's changed since April?
A lot of things, but I'll say the first thing is, like, the reliance from shoppers on Flashfood now. Like, we've become a lifeline for some of our customers, some of our shoppers, where, like, they're not feeding their kids or their families as affordably as they would be or as healthily without the app, and we're seeing that just play out in more and more communities. And there was a story I was telling Esther, our director of comms, before we sat in here, and me and my president stopped at a store in the Midwest last week, and we went to the store. It was one of our newer stores that we had partnered with, and still in, like, kind of the pilot phase. And so we weren't going to go in and, like, talk to anybody. We weren't planning on doing that, really. We were just going to kind of see how people were doing in the store. We ended up meeting the assistant store manager. She's like, "You need to go talk to the store manager." He pulled in the meat department manager, who was the one running Flashfood at the store. Yeah. And he just pulls us aside. He's like, "I've reduced the amount of food that I'm throwing out, like, a ridiculous amount." And then he called over the seafood manager, who was just, like, walking by, and he stopped and he's like, "I just want to say thank you. Like, what you're allowing us to do is so impactful." And we left that meeting. We were going to another dinner with a couple of other executives at Meyer in the Midwest, and the store that we left, and I was talking to my president, and I'm just like, this is not like it's not like a surprise factor. It's not like a reinvigoration. It's more like confirmatory to me. It just is so obvious that this is going to continue to happen, and the scale is going to keep happening, and we're going to be in every community in America. Like, it's just a matter of time. So it's balancing that with, I guess, the headwinds that are the grocery sector, that are the food sector, that, like,
and I want to get into that, but give me. We are Bloomberg, so we get a little, like, number craze.
Yeah,
well, but give me an idea in terms of, like, well, go ahead.
Well, the size and scope that he threw out the last time he was here, he was talking about how it's about $5,000 to $10,000 of food every day a store is throwing out, and that really stuck out to me.
Yeah. We've now saved shoppers. So one number that comes to mind is, like, we've now saved shoppers over $200 million in their groceries. Like, and we're in just under 2,000 stores.
So what does that mean? So when somebody shops, like, tell me what that number means. So, like,
the average discount on Flashfood is about 50% off.
Okay.
So, like, we've saved shoppers in total across the entire platform over $200 million now. And that number is, like, we're in 1,900 stores. There's 40 or 50,000 grocery stores in America. Like, we're still just scratching the surface. There's still so much opportunity.
Who's shopping? Who is your shopper?
It's funny. I was talking about this earlier. Like, there's a small cohort of people that don't have to ever think about how much their groceries are. And there's a cohort of
increasingly
people.
not, because I feel like, but anyway.
Increasingly not. No, you're bang on.
To be fair, there's people who are
You're spot on.
ways.
It's a very small number, and it's getting smaller. And there's a small number of people who just, like, are on the other spectrum. And our shoppers are the mass market that's in between. Like, it's not just people who need to save money on their groceries. People need to save money anywhere now. Mm-hmm. So in terms of the shopper, it's typically young moms that are our main shopper, but it runs the gamut, like, across the spectrum economically.
How does it work exactly if you go to the store?
Remind everybody, because I know you went through this last time. But
yeah, so you usually check the app. So I'll talk the flow. You check the app in the morning. You see what a store posts. You buy it. So let's say you buy a pack of chicken breast and it's 50% off. Anytime that day, you go to the store and you go to the Flashfood zone, which is by the customer service desk usually. And they have a device with the list of names of people that are coming to pick up. You just say, I'm Jess. I bought this chicken through Flashfood. They click your name, click confirm pickup, grab your item for you, give it to you, and you're done. So the transaction happens in the app, and that way you know that your food's going to be waiting for you there any time of the day. We actually have stories of people who will like buy from multiple stores, and they'll send their father-in-law, their mother-in-law, whoever's coming home from work that day, like, hey, stop at the store, you got to grab my order. That's actually becoming more of the thing as we add more locations.
Are there restrictions on how much you can buy?
No.
Do you typically sell out? It's the purple fridge, right?
Yeah, we're selling, like, depending on the store, but we're selling 75 to 80% of all the food that makes its way on the Flashfood platform. Some of the markets, some of the stores, as we like have been on for a while, more shoppers know about it. When we launch, there's some like education to let shoppers know.
Right.
For example, like from the last time I was here, we went from, I think it was like 10 or 15 stores with Stop and Shop to now over 300 stores live with them across New England, New Jersey, New York. So Stop and Shop is our biggest expansion in the last quarter that we've had.
So in context, as far as if something is 2 to 3 days before the expiration date is due or even a week out, what causes that to happen? Are people just going and not, if it states sooner, are they not wanting to grab that and they're trying to buy something that's going to last a little bit longer? So that's why stores end up having to throw this out?
That's exactly it. It's consumer habits. Specifically in North America, when we go grocery shopping, we're always reaching at the back for whatever has the longest shelf life. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
We're all guilty of it.
Right.
And the near dated stuff moves to the front and we don't take it. Or if
there's things that there's not quite as many items left, I'm kind of questioning why some of those things might be there.
That's exactly the next point. If you go buy a watermelon and there's one on the shelf, you assume it's the worst one, so the retailer has to stock the shelves. So it's a combination so that we get selection. It's a combination of like inventory getting into the store, but also consumer habits that drives to this like dual-sided problem, I guess.
As someone who's created this business, Josh, do you think about like, you know, so much when we talk about retail or some other markets, you know, managing your supply chain is crucial, right? And I do wonder, do you think that there is a moment in time where food or supermarkets are better at managing their food purchases so that there isn't waste that you can't tap into, or is it not? It's not the way this market works.
I mean,
I'm just curious if you think about that.
It's not serving to the business, but I mean, I would love if that were the case. From like an environmental perspective, I would love if that were the case.
But is there something about it that almost makes it impossible?
It's not ever going to get there. It's so hard to manage inventory and fresh food. Like, we're in New York City and you can get a banana at any time of the year. Like, people forget how just much of a miracle that is. Like, they're not growing down the road. You got to get that across the world, basically, and take that for any item. Like an avocado, the same thing. Right. So as long as our habits are as they are, which they will continue to be, it's basically impossible to be perfect on your inventory.
Isn't that funny? Like, I think about growing up. I'm older than both of you, but it's like peaches were in season. Like this was in season.
Right.
Corn in this. You know, like there was just certain things that we would, and it was kind of fun. Yeah. But it's not that way anymore.
It's gone away.
Very different.
And now if they don't have something at one store, your competitor has it down the road. So like, because of that reason, in addition to supply chain, in addition to moving food, and in addition to every time you touch food, like it degrades its quality a little bit, it's just really, really difficult to get fresh food right. Forecasting. So my belief is no matter what, we're going to have a surplus in North America of food at the grocery stores. I think it's going to reduce over time, but I think it's always going to be there. And I say that having friendships, close ties with some of these companies that are doing what you're saying, like using AI and leveraging the best way you can order, the best way like you can adopt your systems to being perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Sit tight.
Sure.
We want to talk more.
Awesome.
We want to pick your brain more. Josh Domingues is going to stay with us. He's founder and CEO of Flashfood. Fascinating story. And I feel like, Jess, this fits into, we were talking with Eric Schatzker about the Bloomberg Catalyst.
Yes.
The new economy catalyst. I mean, these are people who are doing this, like thinking about food and food production. And
also climate goes into that as well.
Absolutely. So we're going to continue this conversation in just a moment. I want to get right back to Josh Domingues, founder and CEO of Flashfood, still here with us in our Bloomberg Interactive Broker studio. As you know, that they are a digital marketplace. They bring together consumers or connect consumers to heavily discounted food that is nearing its best before date. Fascinating to hear what you are doing. One thing I have a question with you, is where's the Whole Foods, the Walmart, the Costco, the Kroger, the Wegmans, the Albertsons, the Aldi to partner with you? What's the conversations you're having?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you are.
Yeah. And if anybody knows any of them, like give them a call. No, we're speaking to basically everybody in America.
Do they want to do it?
Yes. And you have different levels within these big companies, decision making from different people. It depends who you get in through. With some of the, like what I'll say is we're very focused on being national in America. And that is something that we continuously are focusing on. And then with some of those companies, like I think it's a matter of time. Like I just, for whatever reason.
Because you bring them revenue. You potentially bring them new customers.
We will absolutely drive in new shoppers that'll spend more money in their stores. We'll help reduce the waistline, drive in like a concert of their waistline. So it's just found money in a lot of ways. But the challenge with big companies, and this is not just grocery, is you have a strategic priority list. What do you pull out to put something new in front of? And who's owning it? Who in the organization? Who's the loudest speaker? Who has the most like opportunity to do it? And that is the hard part of selling anything into a massive company. It's not whether somebody wants to do a thing or not, because a lot of folks and a lot of companies are excited about new ideas. It's really like, how do you get to the heart of what the other person cares about enough to really drive something through? And I think one thing I'll say is, like, we were founded in Canada, a Canadian company based in Toronto. Now we predominantly American in terms of the store count and a lot of our staff. But we had a pandemic where I couldn't cross the border for 2 years. So like if you take away that block of time, and if I just happened to be stateside, I think we would have had more of those names on sooner. Now, saying that, we're in a very good position with a lot of the names that you shared, and we're really focused on.
So there's news coming, perhaps?
I think I'll have to be on here in a couple months again, and we'll have another update. I think that's the right way to go.
Okay.
So what different verticals are you thinking about next?
So one of the most exciting things that we're actually doing right now with a third-party delivery company, one of our grocery partners, all of our grocery partners have distribution centers that have waste because they can't get through. So they bring all this food into these centralized locations, and then they try to send it out to their stores. And for whatever reason, there could be a breakdown, there could be a snowstorm, there could be a flood, and they can't get the food to their stores in time. So at the distribution centers, there happens to be a higher amount than normal of fresh food waste. And what we've done with one of our partners is partnered with a third-party delivery company and put a Flashfood storefront. So they took a location on that distribution center's facility, and they retrofitted it. It was like an old guard shed. They retrofitted it, cleaned it up, put a bunch of fridges in, and it's now a Flashfood storefront. And we actually have a Flashfood by Meyer storefront in Lansing, Michigan on the DoorDash app. So if you're in Lansing, Michigan, you can order groceries at up to 50% off delivered to your door.
That's great.
And
what's the business been like with that model?
It's
early, right?
It's early, and Lansing is a university town.
Yeah.
So without having the university in town,
sorry.
there was no, it's fine. There were just kinks to for example, like at the beginning, there was only a 5-mile radius for delivery. And it just so happens that these facilities that are going to be with every CPG or every food company are going to be in places that not a lot of people live. So you learn things as you go. It's a brand new vertical for us, but that has since almost tripled in terms of like the coverage and the radius.
What's the delivery time though? Or the delivery, is it a long distance? No, not necessarily.
Same day.
Same day.
Same day delivery.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the cost for the delivery?
I think it's $5.
Okay.
It's dependent on the order size, but it's like between $5 and $10. But your order is up to 50% off the food that you're getting. So this is a model that we're testing out now. It's going well. It's going better than we anticipated at this stage.
Better than the original model?
I think it can be bigger than our original model in terms of the amount of food waste reduction. I think it's different. I think it adds a whole bunch of different partners. I think all of these CPG companies have locations across America.
Consumer product good.
Yeah, consumer product good companies have, I know that they have locations across America that have wasted their facilities. Like there's a scenario here where this could be a really big vertical for us.
You also mentioned you have a bit of a reach on TikTok now.
Yeah, so
Is Josh a TikTok star?
No. The Flashfood brand, we would not have any reach if it was the Josh.
It could happen, Josh.
We're getting
you
like,
and your wife.
yeah, exactly, and the kids. That'll probably be more exciting as people are unboxing, as shoppers are unboxing. So on Flashfood, you buy a box of produce and you you see a picture of what's going to be in it, but a lot of times people are opening this box and they're seeing items that they've never tried before. So there's been like a pretty big unboxing theme on TikTok where people are sharing what they're getting, and then they're also sharing, for example, like one person getting 100 bananas for $5. They'll unbox it and they'll be like, they'll know they're getting a bunch of bananas, but they're like, okay, what am I going to do with all these bananas? And then you'll see them share that. There'll be content going back and people saying, try this, try this. And so this is the other side of it. Like, we've built a platform that's helping retailers make more money, reduce waste, drive in new shoppers. But there's also a whole angle here on like the origination of, what are you making? What are you doing in the kitchen? Like, what are you trying? What are you cooking? And it's becoming a fun part of the process in a way that I personally didn't anticipate when we started.
What's the most difficult part of the business?
Getting more retailers on board faster. That's it. Because I'll sit down with an executive and share all the things that I've shared on this show, and they're just... There's one executive of a big retailer who has almost 2,000 locations. And I was like, why don't you just do this in all your stores? He's like, what people don't realize is we have however many thousand employees, however many hundreds of thousands of shoppers that come into the stores every day. And there was a coffee mug in front of him. He's like, for me to get this coffee mug moved from here to there in one of our stores in unison, consistently on a daily basis, is a monumental task. And so as he was saying it that way, I was like, okay, yeah, these are big numbers. So the challenge is like getting scale faster because we are tightly embedded with our grocery partners. We don't have a business if it's not for our partners. And that's unique in a lot of tech companies. And we're not trying to come at this and be smarter than them because we're not. We just have one vertical that can solve one part of the problem in a really meaningful financial way. And just, yeah, that's been it.
I gotta say, sign of a great interview is that you're leaving and I still have like a dozen questions I want to ask you. So you're gonna have to come back.
Yeah, thank you.
It sounds like there's gonna be some news
back.
in the future.
I'll be back.
Josh Domingues, he's founder and CEO of Flashfood. Congratulations on
Thank
the
you.
family
Thank
and
you.
good to see you.
Thank you so
Bloomberg.
much for having me.